Hi guys, welcome back to Econ Time with SK. So grab your notebooks, your favorite cup of coffee, and let's get started. In this video, we are going to be looking at price elasticity of supply. And once again, it is parallel to what we learned about price elasticity of demand. So remember, when we were doing price elasticity of demand, it was essentially percentage change in quantity demanded due to percentage change in price. So price elasticity of supply is simply percentage change in quantity supplied due to percentage change in price. And so what the price elasticity of supply will help us determine is that whether your supply curve is going to look like this or whether it is going to be something flatter. So should it be like this? Whenever we're dealing with this very steep supply curve, the idea is that if your price increases, let's say by this much, look, your change in quantity supplied is very small, right? So quantity supplied, not so responsive to a change in price. On the other hand, if you look here, you see that a pretty small change in price, it looks to a much bigger change in quantity supplied. So basically, quantity supplied is very responsive to a change in price. And like before, when we come to the price elasticity of supply, you look at whether elasticity of supply is equal to 1, if it is more than 1, if it's less than 1. So when it is equal to 1, you say that it is unit elastic. When it is more than 1, you say that it is elastic supply. When it is less than 1, you say that it is inelastic supply, right? So this is elasticity of supply is less than 1, elasticity of supply is more than 1. And then, of course, you've got the extremes, right? So if you've got infinity, then you're saying that it is perfectly elastic supply. And if you get something like 0, then you say it is perfectly inelastic supply. When it comes to the diagram, remember there's a continuum. So initially, if we're dealing with perfectly inelastic supply, then this is what the supply curve will look like. All right. You can change the price, right? So price shoots up, but there's no change to quantity supplied. So here, price elasticity of supply is 0. No response in terms of quantity supplied by producers. When it comes to inelastic supply, then our supply curve is steeper, something like this, right? So this is when your elasticity of supply is less than 1. With elasticity of supply, which is equal to 1, we have our benchmark case, ES is 1, which means a 1% change in price leads to a 1% change in quantity demanded. And then when we have elastic supply, we have a flatter supply curve, right? So this is where your elastic supply is going to be greater than 1. And then finally, with perfectly elastic supply, we've got a flat supply curve. And this is where we can say the producers are extremely sensitive to a change in price. The key thing that you need to remember is that when we have inelastic supply, we are dealing with a steep supply curve, and then when we have elastic supply, we're dealing with a flat or flatter supply curve. Okay, so now let's look at this table. We're saying that when there's elastic supply, the percentage change in quantity supplied is going to be more than whatever is the percentage change in price. Remember that it's easiest if we were to look at it in terms of arrows. So price increases, quantity supplied increases even more. That's what we mean by more than proportionate. So when we talk about inelastic supply, on the other hand, we are saying that the percentage change in quantity supplied is less than the percentage change in price. Again, let's do the arrow diagram. What we are saying is that if the price were to go up like this, the quantity supplied would increase, but not so much. So we are talking about a less than proportionate change in the quantity supplied. Okay, I see an error here. Just fix this to supplied. Okay. Next, when we are talking about unit elastic supply, remember I have called this a benchmark really. So we're saying that the percentage change in quantity supplied is same as the percentage change in price. So if we were to use arrows, what we are saying is that if the price goes up like this, quantity supplied would go up by the same proportion. So, which means that we're talking about a proportionate change. Next, when we are saying elastic supply, we're saying producers are extremely responsive to a change in quantity supplied. Whereas when we are talking about perfectly inelastic supply, we're saying, hey, you know what? Producers don't respond at all to any change in the price. Okay, so with that, we can end our discussion on the introduction to price elasticity of supply. And in the next video, we're going to look at some applications. All right, guys, I shall see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.